recording.
Please mute yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bert Dicht. I'm Vice President of Membership for the National Space Society. And on behalf of Larry Ahearn, Vice President of Chapters, we'd like to welcome you to this virtual town hall where we're going to be giving out the NSS Chapter Award. So thank you so much for joining us. We've been doing these, as I said last time, for about over 3 months, and we've been getting a great response. So we're really glad you're able to join us, and we're kind of making it regular programming, alternating between our town halls, which are about NSS, NSS benefits, or things that celebrate NSS, or our space forums, which talk about things that are happening in the space program, space development. So we're glad you can join us this evening. I just want to remind you of some of our town hall etiquette. And so hopefully you're in a quiet room or location so you're not disturbed. Again, you don't need to have your camera on. Save some of that broadband and you can turn it off. And that way it allows the speakers to show up. You also might want to be in speaker mode. So that way when the person is speaking, their image shows up on the screen. I really, I'll say a number of times, please remain muted. All of the background noise can be heard by all the participants, and it's amazing how powerful these microphones are. So please be on mute. We'll be going around making sure everyone is on mute. Use the chat function to ask some questions. We do have some questions that were submitted prior, and hopefully we'll have some time to answer those. I ask everyone to be respectful of the speakers and all the other attendees. And you heard the session is going to be recorded. So just so you know, and we will be sending that out after the session is over. Our agenda, we're gonna have some introductions. We'll go right into the awards. And then hopefully we'll have time for a Q&A once we follow. So it's my pleasure to introduce our main host tonight. And these gentlemen are friends of mine. I've been working with them for the last 5 years, I believe, since I got involved as a volunteer with the National Space Society. So my pleasure to introduce David Stuart, who is the Chapters Committee Chair. And our first presenter tonight, our first host, I should say, Larry Ahearn, the Vice President of Chapters. So gentlemen, it's great to have you this evening, and we look forward to a great session. So Larry, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay. I'd like to be able to start out by telling people that the future is brighter than it is now. Right now, last year we did a lot of things. This year we've been COVID in. No, that doesn't make sense. We've been locked down because of COVID, but we're still doing stuff online, and this is going to be an added tool for us in the future. So I see a lot of advantages going forward in the future, but I don't think people want to hear about what I think. They want to see what's going on. So let's get to the awards. Fred, I want to point out last year, our chapters that we had reports from not every chapter turned in a report. Unfortunately, those chapters that did not turn in a report, an activities report, you're not going to hear from them tonight because they're not listed here. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. You need to turn in those annual reports and those activities. But of the 70+% that did turn in the reports, we had 553 events. 61 of those can be directly attributed to STEM activities. And a lot of these events are all different times. When I started this whole thing, we only had 27 different types of activities. We got 114 different things that chapters do. They keep on inventing new stuff. We've been in 17 states, 8 countries, and 6 continents. We had 45,600 people reached by these events. And if you take in media impressions, which includes online as well as print, TV, and radio, we've had almost 5,700,000 media impressions. So we are the vital part of NSS. We've also done 115 individual presentations. Some of these presentations we're actually using when we get our online forum set up. The chapters can, if they need a speaker, they can call in one virtually from all across the country. So we're going to have a lot of things that we can do. But let's get to what everybody wants to listen to. I'll start with the honorable mentions. Okay, first honorable mention. German Space Society, Deutsches Raumfahrtgesellschaft e.V. Honorable mention for their international outreach in Europe. Next slide, Fred. They did at least 9 cities, maybe more, I'm not sure, in 3 different countries, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. In German. Next slide, Fred. By the way, moon fever in Westfalen. Okay, I get that. Anyways, they like I said, their exhibits were seen by tens of thousands of people in Germany, Switzerland, and for that reason, we're giving them the honorable mention award for displays. Next slide. Honorable mention, educational outreach, the Greek New Space Chapter. Well, correction, go back, Fred. Go back. Is anybody from the German chapter here? Could you turn your camera on? I don't see him turning it on. Michael Senecan, are you here? Come on down.
I do not see Michael on the roster.
I seen him earlier, but it's...
He's there. I see him. He just hasn't turned on his mic.
Okay. I just wanted to, what do you call it? As we call your chapter, if anyone's from your chapter, just turn on your picture, turn on your video so we can see the person that's getting the award. Okay, let's move on because we're on a tight schedule. Honorable mention for education outreach. The Greek chapter did a series of outreach events. We're working with educational things, not only in their own country, but around the world. And these are usually at the college level. And these events reached out in about 5 or 6 different areas. Here's a bunch of these here, kids getting together. Like I said, this is at the college level. For this reason, why we're giving them an honorable mention in outreach. Is anybody from the Greek chapter here? Turn on their video if they are. Okay. So we'll move on. The next one. Honorable mention, Huntsville L5. They did a lot of great speaker meetings. They did a number of speakers. A lot of these are high-powered speakers. Matter of fact, if we can get some of these people, we can do some of these virtual meeting stuff. And the only reason they're getting an honorable mention is we had some communications problems, and and they paid a penalty because of my failure to communicate with them. And I'm sorry about that, but they did a great job, and I hope to see them come back strong next year. Anybody from the Huntsville chapter, please show up on the screen, please.
They probably need to see something or say something so that we can see them.
It's Gary Bumpus. I'm the publicity director for HAL 5.
Hey, hi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, Mumbai chapter, honorable honorable mention outreach. I was very impressed. The very first meeting they had, 1,100 people showed up, and they were doing three or more. And I like what they call Akshat Mohiti. I'm probably not Mahiti. I'm not pronouncing his name right. If he's on the call, please correct my pronunciation, please. Anyways, they did a great job of doing a series of talks. We're reaching hundreds of people at a time. And this is young people. These are people that we need, and for that reason, they're getting an honorable mention Mumbai chapter. Okay, next one. Honorable mention Oklahoma Space Society. If you don't get their newsletter, you should ask them about it. They have two newsletters, one in even months, one in odd months. One is called Outreach, and the other one is called Update. And is there any? Let's show a picture on the screen of their people. Can't show Can we show the magazine? Oh, these are the editors, or current or former editors. Is there any of these people here on the call?
Yes, two of us.
Ah,
Cliff and-
yes.
Cliff
There's,
and Mcmurray are on the call.
Thank you. You're getting an honor.
I wanted to make a tiny correction to what you said. The outreach and the update both go out every month. One of them is for the monthly in-person presentation, and the other one is the newsletter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, let's move on. Philadelphia Area Space Society, implemental outreach activities. They do science fairs. They do science activities. They work with the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. They do a lot of things that showcase them. The person in white in the back is Earl Bennett. I said, Earl, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for the honorable mention.
Yes.
Maybe next year we'll be able to do a little bit more.
Yes, I think so. By the way, who's that gentleman? Who's that gentleman with you in the picture?
Okay, the guy in front with the dark shirt is Wallace Kemp. And he is in front of, I think, the magnetic levitation display.
Ah,
Yes.
okay, very interesting. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, San Antonio Space Society, honorable mention media. That's a misnomer. What they've done is they did science fairs. They did science programming. They did a number of science programs. I think they did a lot of science fairs. I already mentioned that. They also on some. They actually did some sports programs. They did a lot of things. So, what the media is, they also got a lot of media attention in San Antonio. Is Carol or Joe available on the call?
I don't see them listed.
Okay.
The reason why they got media was that they spent a fair amount of time promoting these science fairs and interacting with the media people, both before the science fairs and at the science fairs.
Okay, thank you, David. Last one, I think. Last honorable mention, the Tucson Space Society. If you've ever been to the ISTC, you know what I'm talking about when I say they're virtual education stuff. They have an Oculus Rift where you can actually end up feeling like you're on Mars or the moon or something. You can, it sure is. They've expanded it to Jupiter, Saturn, and other Mars. Well, I don't know about Venus and Mars, or Mercury rather. Anyways, but they do these virtual things where you put on the goggles and you can actually feel like you're there. And is Christian Meza or anybody from that chapter here? Okay.
I thought somebody was, but they're either
All right.
being real quiet.
Like I said, this is the first time we're doing this. This is something that one of those glitches will iron out in the future. Okay, that's the end of the honorable mentions. Now the first Special Merit Award. I'm going to be making that presentation because that's going to go to the Seattle Space Society for their displays. They do displays and demonstrations at schools, at community groups, at the Museum of Flight, and they're if you haven't seen pictures of show the pictures following this. They do extensive displays, and it's well worth checking that out. Anyways, the Special Merit Award for displays is going to Seattle. That's a $50 check that goes with that check. Check will be in the mail and come out sometime in the, next month or the month after, depending on. I'm screwing up with the new accounting system of NSS, and I'll get it straightened away. But you will get the check and the certificate that you. Oh, by the way, all the certificates will be downloaded. You can always print them out. You'll have the certificates on hand. And now I'm going to turn the rest of the cash award stuff over to Dave Stuart.
Okay, Fred, move on. Okay, so I don't know if anybody from Guayaquil Space Society, Ecuador, is here. Great, I'm glad that you're here. So you're going to get a little bit of money for a brand new chapter. You've really ramped up and started doing a lot of activities in a short period of time. You had an astronaut come and talk with people. You've had a number of presentations. You're starting out strong, and this is a great example of a new chapter getting in and finding out what's going on in their community, setting up events and activities, and inviting people in. They've become quite involved with a variety of different groups in a very short period of time. I expect to see them move up to higher ranking over the next couple of years. So congratulations. And if Fred, can you show his video? Or is that going to interrupt? Not going to interrupt the slides too much?
Don't have any video.
Okay.
Is Robert A on here?
Yes, he's there.
I'm here. Thank you very much, guys.
You just have to coordinate with Larry to see whether your check gets sent to your visiting abode in Florida or whether you want it sent all the way down to your house in Ecuador.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, one day we can have the ISDC in Ecuador, so you can all come down.
Yes, we would like that. We've talked many times about having ISDCs or some kind of conference. We've done 2 of them in Canada with mixed success. They were good or very good, but not quite up to excellent. And it takes a little bit of extra effort to do things out of the US just because all of our coordinating activities are here. So thank you very much for getting started on a new chapter.
Yeah, I'd like to point out if we do go to Guayaquil, I want to ride on the space elevator.
Yeah, if they get it offshore there. So okay, Fred, thank you very much. Next. Yes. So there's special merit for astronomy. Middle Tennessee chapter has made kind of a specialty out of astronomy and astronomical teaching and viewing. They're involved in a lot, consistently involved, I should say, in a lot of astronomy events. This is one they're participating in. They do quite a few talks at these events, and they're continuing it again through, I'm hoping that this is a sun watching event, but if anybody from Middle Tennessee is here, speak up, please. Yep, don't hear them. So one of the things that we decided to do in honor of Dave Dunlop, because he was a major force in starting the international committee, which had been started a couple of times in the past and didn't have enough consistent volunteers to keep it going. And Dave took this on with rigor and relish, and he made a permanent committee out of a temporary committee, and made a lot of friends internationally, and attended a number of United Nations events, and met and discussed space activities with a variety of international space entrepreneurs and space government organizations. And so this is something that's important. So, and this year, Nashik, India chapter, gets this award for all of their outreach activities. They've spent, especially Avinash, has spent a lot of time talking with people. As time goes on, they are ramping up to do more and more outreach. And what we hope that they'll be able to do is diversify some of their activities, so that, because I have no doubt that they will be in upper echelons for awards in future years. So congratulations to them. Avinash, are you on?
Yeah, I am very much here.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, NSS. This is consecutively the third award my chapter has received. 2018, it was the Excellence Award. Last year, 2019, it was a Special Merit for Worldwide Communication. And this year it is, oh great, David Dunlop International Award. Thanks again for your appreciation and motivation.
Great, yes, we look forward to seeing a lot more, and hopefully in 4 or 5 years, we can have an ISDC there in India.
Oh, sure, most welcome.
So, so thank you very much for all of your outreach. For a fairly young chapter, you've done quite a bit in a few years. Thank you.
It is just 4 years.
4 years, yes. So that's good. All right, Fred. So I definitely wanted to mention we added another Special Merit Award this year because of one very focused, specific type of activity. Those people who participated or viewed some of the Apollo Breakfast on the Moon events that Sacramento L5 put on. They know exactly what we're talking about. If you haven't seen some of those, I encourage you to go to their website, which you can find their website link on the NSS website under chapters, and scroll down and see a variety of their different activities. They're very, very much into doing Zoom meetings. They've almost made a specialty of it. This one that you're seeing right now was Apollo 13 Breakfast on the Moon podcast. And in the center, Mr. Bland was able to get Jim Lovell, Captain Jim Lovell of Apollo 13, to have a one-on-one talk, which was excellent. even though Mr. Lovell was doing it on his cell phone, which he also did his interview with, I think, Fox News on his cell phone. So it was kind of the same quality. But I encourage you to go listen to his talk and the other talks that were given at that time. They're all linked on the Sacramento website, and most of them are linked on the NSS chapter's YouTube section. So you can find them there. Joe, are you on?
I certainly am.
Yes, and I want to really thank you for all of your efforts in putting those on. I think they've been a real plus, not only for your chapter, but for the rest of us.
Yep, absolutely. I should point out, though, that the job isn't done.
Oh, yes.
Real pollination celebrations still before us.
Yeah, so we'll have an expanded Breakfast on the Moon award next year.
Fascinating.
Maybe with a breakfast plate for you.
Good idea.
So congratulations and thanks for you and your chapter's work. And the other part that really didn't mention much is that if you want a good example of an informative website, you should look at their website. There's a lot of information there, including, if you're unfamiliar with how to operate within the Zoom world, online conferencing, Joe has graciously put a little tutorial up there.
Well, Ed Koulis, our IT guy, is the guy that gets the crown for that.
Okay.
Fortunate to have this man. Very, very fortunate.
Yes, there's a lot of nuances to the Zoom sessions, and it's good to have somebody who kind of informs you about some of them ahead of time so that you don't have to live them in real time. All right. Next. Okay, before we start the chapter excellence, I wanted to make it very clear to everybody how the chapter awards are presented. We take all of the chapter activities reports, and that's why those annual reports are very important, is we scrutinize them. This year, was at 170 some odd pages. And Fred nicely has developed an Excel spreadsheet. We have right now 28 categories, different types of activities, events, organizations, processes that we examine. And from the add-on list, it looks like we'll be adding at least 4 more to make it 32 categories to try and pick those chapters who are really excelling and rising to the top that deserve awards. I mean, this is the place to showcase chapters, and there are a good variety of things that go into selecting awards. So with that, Fred, so the first excellence in speaker outreach goes to one of our perennial chapters, the Chicago Society for Space Studies, an original L5 Society chapter. This, in some respects, is sort of repetitive because they're so good at it. They've gotten awards over the past years for doing a lot of outreach. But that's not the only thing that they do. So just to remind you, they did 46 public speaking events at schools, colleges, libraries, retirement homes, and science fiction conventions. That's almost a speaking event every week. Additionally, what isn't there but supplements their speaker is their website, and they're one of the better users of activities on the web, including Pinterest and Facebook pages. So I would strongly urge you to go to their website, read some of their Pinterest letters, their chapter website, where more information is posted. They continually are a strong chapter, and they're slowly starting to diversify, and they could end up being one of the top chapters if they would diversify a little bit. But that means more volunteers. A lot of this goes on 4 or 5 people in their chapter, which are very, very, very dedicated people. Jim Plaxco, are you on? And your other people?
Of course I'm on, and we've got several chapter members here with us tonight.
Well, that's great.
And I particularly want to give a shout out to Keith Lewis, who takes care of our Facebook page for us. So the chapter owes you a thank you for that, Keith. And Jim Kovac is also on the call, and he is actually the heart of our Speakers Bureau. So we wouldn't have had nearly as many public outreach events if it wasn't for Jim's continual efforts. So we owe Jim a big thank you.
And I believe he's the one that's in the picture right now speaking.
Actually, no, that's one of our newer speakers that we just picked up a couple of years ago. So
okay.
Our Speakers Bureau is slowly expanding.
Excellent. Well, that's what we like to hear. Chapters that are expanding and diversifying and getting more people involved to shoulder the outreach and getting space talked about. So thank you again to your chapter for all of the work that you've done in the past and the work you'll do in the future. And I do encourage other chapters to go to their website and follow some of the threads to various other places on the web. And if Jim will start putting some of his artwork up on his meetings, they might get an art award. All right. Yeah, Jim?
Oh, I just said thank you, David.
Okay. A suggestion, Jim. You could get other artists to also help you. So another perennial powerhouse in our chapter system is National Space Society of North Texas. Their Excellence Awards, it really should be a state on this certificate, Excellence Award for diverse outreach activities. And they are one of the prime examples of variety. They do a lot of different types of things over every single year consistently, year in and year out. So they did 16 public events and science fiction conventions, 7 educational activities, a science fair, and one of the things that chapters shouldn't lose sight of is that they do chapter outings and social events to have fun, to build the chapter into a more interesting group for people to get to know each other and do things. And that in itself will create volunteers to help you expand out and do even more. One reason why North Texas didn't actually do a little bit more than they normally do is because they were going to host the ISDC, which obviously we know what happened to that. They will get a chance in a couple of years to have a rematch, and we'll have ISDC, I believe, not next year or the year after, but the year after that. We'll be back in Texas. So congratulations to them. Are there some people from North Texas on the call?
Yay!
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, I thought there would be.
I think there's at least 5 of us. There's one of our chapter officers, Cynthia Wisenand, Sean Freeman, who's not only a chapter director, but also he's got a new title that I'm not completely familiar with, but regional. Sean, why don't you take it from here and tell your position, as well as another officer, Grace Raber. We've got our membership director, Bill Byram, and James Wilrich, who's been a member for maybe 5-6 years now. So I hope I didn't miss anyone, but welcome to, I don't know. It's rare that I'm at a loss for words, but thank you to the committee, I guess, for honoring us with this award. We certainly work hard at it, as you guys know. So, thank you to the chapters committee, and thanks to the members who were able to get on the call tonight.
Yes, and congratulations to all of you. Sorry we didn't see you in person at ISDC this year. The problem with your chapter at ISDCs is we run out of room on the stage for all of the people.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Our North Texas chapter has 3 years, as you said, before we'll be able to host another ISDC. So with 3 years to prepare, you might want to consider getting a bigger stage.
Yeah, well, you'll have partial control over ISDC, so you'll have to order a bigger stage for those events.
Okay. All right.
Everything's bigger in Texas, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you in 3 years, and sorry we missed you this year.
Yeah, we're sorry we couldn't host you guys, but we'll just make up for it 3 years from now.
Yeah, so thank you again, all, and welcome to another chapter award for you guys.
Thanks.
All right, Fred. Okay, Phoenix. Phoenix is an interesting chapter. It should actually say Excellence Awards for chapter participation activities. And the reason why is it goes back to what I described earlier about the categories. Just like the other 2 chapters that received Excellence Awards, it's dealing in diversity, except for Chicago, they deal in depth, which I'm hoping that they'll also spread to diversity, then they'll always be in the top tiers. But Phoenix is one of those chapters that has done a lot of different types of things. And that indicates that they have a depth of volunteers that have a variety of different interests that are actually willing to put themselves forward to talk about space into a variety of different groups, which is part of the reason the National Space Society exists, is to get settlement of space out to a large group of people in diverse situations. Besides their mini chapter meetings where they have speakers, they also collaborate with a variety of organizations in their area. They also did some political outreach, which, remember, last year wasn't a political year, but it's important to maintain those contacts with your Congress critters, or even if you're an international, all of you people in India and Greece and Germany, you need to continually press your governments to participate in the space program. And you're starting to see that more and more worldwide. And fortunately, and sometimes unfortunately, the political leaders are key to driving that forward in your countries. So that's one of the things, and I expect to see even more political stuff from them this year since it's an election year. So we'll see what their activities report says next year. They also did some virtual events, and as you saw in one of the slides here, Yuri's Night. We forget that every year there's a Yuri's Night. It's kind of mixes up things for us because it's only a month or two before ISDC, and a lot of people's times are focused on other things. But we certainly encourage all of the chapters to do a Yuri's Night or participate in a Yuri's Night. If you're going to do a Yuri's Night, register on the Yuri's Night website and get listed on the worldwide events, and you can post your event photos and activities about Yuri's Night there. Plus, we can post them in Downlink, and if they're really exciting ones, then they could end up in the Ad Astra magazine. So we certainly encourage all chapters to participate in Yuri's Night, and also any other space celebrations. There's a lot of things that are going on. You know, space activities are definitely ramping up again, including the private ones, as you well know. There was a launch yesterday to another rover to Mars from the US, and days before that from China, and what was the other one?
UAE.
Yeah, UAE, yeah, United Arab Emirates sent, they're taking a lot of their oil money that they're very nice to get from everybody around the world and putting it into space activities. So the world of space activities are diversifying countrywide, and it'll only get more and more active as time goes on. So those are our excellence. So is anybody from Phoenix here? Phyllis?
I'm here. Thank you, Larry, and thank you, David, for the introduction and inviting us, NSS Phoenix, to participate this evening. And thank you so much, National Space Society, for honoring Phoenix for its political outreach, the community engagement, for a lot of things that we worked hard to put together. I was and I'm still impressed by people in the space industry who have a why not approach to different challenges and acting on inspired and daring dreams. And today I also get to push my limits and endurance along with my creativity, and we get to be a part of that. So while participating in speaking engagements, including like last year's Apollo 11 celebrations, we had 6, which was awesome, and we got to host our World Space Party, and also a Space Up conference, and we also were very honored to represent NSS at SEDS conference also last year in 2019. We're grateful to show up for our community, also people who want to share in space jobs and higher education here in Arizona and achieve those dreams for themselves here at home. And for that, I'm grateful to serve NSS alongside with others who are passionate about space, for which, just like any great achievements, they're not done by one person, but with a great team. And I'd like to honor our Vice President, Clelia Tomei, and also Greg Rucker, our Secretary and Treasurer, Marianne Zalotti, also our Secretary, and our Chair of the AIAA Phoenix Division, Mike Bukowski. There's a few key members. Like you said, we have to have a diverse array of people. These people, without them, we wouldn't be here as well. So thank you to Karen McPheen, Dr. Cyan Proctor, Teresa Anzalotti, Benjamin Hernandez, and Donald Jackies. And of course, we have lots of partners and that support us. And those are the Humanist Society of Phoenix, Starseed Incorporated, Real-Time STEAM, VR for Good, the Arizona Science Center, and also Sacramento L5. Thank you for your help and support as well last year. And I want to also acknowledge God and my faith. Thank you, National Space Society, for the recognition. And as we all know, this year has, for 2020, has a lot of emotional up and downs, many tears being shed. This is a positive highlight for my team, and thank you. With that, I'll pass.
Well, thank you again for all of your efforts and bringing in new people and urging on your existing members to do more things. That's part of the diversity of outreach that is important for a lot of chapters to grow. And we haven't seen it as much recently, but that diversity years ago used to actually split chapters into different chapters where part of them would focus more on one area and the other part would focus on another area. That's why there were a number of chapters in Chicago, a number in Seattle, obviously a number in Texas. But you guys are so far apart that you just have to have more chapters. But if there isn't enough interest to support one activity and you think there is, I certainly encourage you to start gathering people and form another chapter. This is how chapters grow. And it's not a competition. We're all talking about promoting space and the settlement of space. So this is important for you to find the strengths that you've got within your chapter and find your weaknesses, fill those weaknesses if you can. If your chapter's not doing the things that you want it to do, start your own chapter. But Phoenix is showing that they can do a lot of different things in a good number of different areas and still pull them off. So kudos to them. All right, Fred? So the Robert Compton Chapter of the Year Award, this goes back a number of years. Robert Compton was a Sacramento L5 member who pursued excellence in his specific field. He loved rockets and propulsion. He worked on them for years and years. Unfortunately, he had an accident that ended up being fatal with his rocket propulsion. Just like they always say, rockets are, you got to know that everything is working just right, because any little error can end up being a problem. But his passion for chapters and rocket science and getting people into space was an early demonstration to other chapters of the dedication that people can have. And that's why the Chapter of the Year Award is named after Robert Compton. So, and we honor his past and his efforts. And with that, Fred? So, not a certificate, but St. Louis Space Frontier is again on the top. They are one of those chapters that is always vying for one of the top spots. They do so much. They have done so much in the past. They continue to do so many things. So they again demonstrate the ability to have a good number of people in their chapter and supporting a diversity of activities. Sometimes I'm surprised that they haven't split into 2 or 3 chapters from all of the stuff that they're doing. But they've also taken some time to reach out into their community like Phoenix has, but they did it over a period of time and made a concerted effort to do a lot of collaborative activities to actually immerse themselves into their community. And they did 33 of those collaborative activities for outreach activities last year. Additionally, they did 6 educational activities. One of the things that they do to keep their chapter alive and invigorated is 19 chapter outings and chapter socials where they're actually going and exploring places, museums together, which is an actual foundation idea to keep informed and to discuss things for future events and future meetings for your chapter. They've been doing this for a number of years, and they continue to do this. And that is why they have, again, taken the Chapter of the Year award. They're also showing, they also do science fiction conventions on top of that, and 5 other types of activities that are listed within that 28 group of activities that I mentioned. So they have their hands, all of these people that you see around this table, they have their hands in a lot of different things to talk about space and present space settlement and the future of space to the greater St. Louis area. And that's what NSS is all about. And we congratulate them for another win at the top. And we look forward to their competition, even though you've had some leadership changes this year, because Christine, you don't live in town anymore, do you?
Well, part-time in St. Louis and part-time in Jefferson City.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're going to start a chapter in Jefferson City, right?
Good point. Good idea. Hey, we do have several members on. So if everybody could turn on their video if possible. So we have Colleen, who is our current president. She's here. So you want to say hi so everybody can see you, because in your...
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hello. Hello. Popping up here now.
I still got the voice, but no video. Sorry.
All right. Well, Bryce is one of our board members. He's our treasurer. Let's see. Dave, you're on. I saw Dietzler on. Say that again.
I said, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right.
No camera, though.
Okay. So Bob is on. Bob, did you make it?
Yeah, I see him.
All
He's
right.
waiting.
Oh, okay. I just can't see everybody the way the screen is set up.
Yeah,
Bill?
we're busy every now and then.
Oh, there you go, Bob. Hi. And Bill's on.
Hi there.
Hi, Bill. Glad you made it. And Mike Mikowski. He's still a member.
Yeah.
He was one of the members back in the day. And then, so I didn't see the following, board members. So Charity, Vice President, Chris, who is our newsletter editor, Brian, who is a board member, and Ron, who is a board member. And then Judy has always been very involved with this, but has kind of stepped away during the COVID-19 period. So she's not here, but I wanted to kind of point out those super active members. And then we have more members as well. Does anybody, Colleen, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I think, we've been doing our best to keep things rolling during the whole COVID thing. We've been doing some Zoom meetings within the community and personally within the chapter. And I think people have been like thinking about, we've been also been doing like some email back and forth about ideas, as everybody else I'm sure does too. But we've been trying to keep things active while we're still non-active, basically. And that's been the challenge and the well, that's the challenge, I guess, what we're trying to get through right now, as everybody else is too. But it's nice having these available so we can kind of keep talking to each other and keep active.
Yeah,
It's much
actually,
fun when we get to do it all in person again.
Yes, yes.
the good thing about the challenge, or the lemonade part, life gives you lemons, make lemonade, is that we did host and are still hosting Friday night space talks.
Yes.
So during the height, like when we were all stuck in our homes from March, April, and May, we did one every Friday night. And then for June, July, August, we're doing like the last Friday of the month. So tomorrow night is SPORE. It's I met this gentleman through the Lunar Development Conference, and he's going to be talking about how we can live and work under the moon rather than on the surface. And if you would like to participate, well, the way, either email me, I'll put my email in the chat, my chat's open, or you can go to our meetup site, I'll put that in the chat too. And I'll either send you a link through email, or the Zoom link is on Meetup. When you RSVP yes, and then that Zoom link pops open for you. So anyway, I'll push our Friday night space talks, because I think we'll continue on Zoom for a while, and it's a great opportunity for us all to get together.
Yeah, we've also been doing the venture cafes on. They've changed their venture cafe is a like a local business incubator type of thing, and we've been doing some talks there about once a month to promote ideas of what people can do in space, and kind of like thinking about startup type of things, and plus other space ideas there. And we've been trying to do that once a month, and we had a set time period, but they changed their format, and so things are kind of strange right now with that. But we've been trying to keep up with that too. So.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear. So other chapters can take note. Zoom isn't the only venue to do online meetings with, but there are tricks with each one of them, and you need to know what they are, especially when it comes to open meetings. You can have some interesting things occur when the meetings are too wide open. Now, so great. I'm happy that you guys are already changing your activity structure to the COVID world, and moving on forward, and look forward to seeing your activities report for the next year. And when you are doing something, when you're sending out a meeting notice, just post it to the chapter discussion group so that people are aware. And this is something for everybody. If you're doing something online that you think is of interest to other NSS members, put it in the chapter's discussion group. Most everybody that's on this call should be on that. If it's of a extremely interesting and high important value, we'll bump it up to the chapter announce group. We try and reserve the announce group listings and postings to only super important things, so people don't get bombarded with announcements and things. But your chapters need to support other chapters too, and especially during this time of COVID. So you guys in St. Louis are showing what can be done during this change in approach to promoting space. So with that, thank you again. And Larry, are you ready to move?
Yes, the final two awards of the night.
All right. Thank you again.
Okay, Fred. The chapter's coordinators chapter leader award. For 2020, this is the final chapter coordinators chapter leader award. The chapters coordinators are people who held the title of vice president of chapters. We decide who the chapter leader award. And this is somebody that has not just done a great job with their own chapter, but they've done work with multiple chapters. And the 2020 chapter coordinators chapter leader award is going to a well-deserved person, Joseph Bland. Joe Bland did an outstanding job, not only with his Breakfast on the Moon, which you heard about, but for the last several years, he's been chair of the chapter's assembly. And he's done a tremendous job of getting things done. And I like to have Joe say a few words here right now.
Thank you. And I have a little prepared statement. It's like a minute long. Thank you for the honor you bestowed on me tonight. But the reality is, as with so much in life, it isn't about the person who gets the prize. As Dave said, back in 2016, our longtime president, Robert Compton, died of serious injuries that he sustained while working to improve a unique rocket motor of his own invention. I can tell you without hesitation that everything I've done with the National Space Society has been about carrying the ball forward that Robert had carried forward before me. Not carried as well by me as he did, certainly, and definitely not carried by me alone. But nevertheless, the ball was carried forward. So I prefer to think of this award as a recognition that somehow, with a lot of folks' efforts, we've advanced a step towards our common goal. But it's important to recall that, like those Apollo virtual celebrations my chapter has been promoting, the jobs are not done. One of the marvelous insights I've been privileged to gain as an NSS leader is that no matter our differences, it's the vision we have in common that matters. Bottom line, as long as the NSS focuses like a laser on our common vision, we will keep carrying the ball together. Thank you again for this great honor.
Thank you. Fred, do not show the next slide, please, until I say next, okay? Okay, I want to point out this is the final chapters coordinators chapter leader award. We will not be presenting the chapters coordinator leader award, mainly because in the future, the chapters coordinators will be presenting their award under a different name. This award is this year this award is going to a person that people probably know his name, but they don't understand. He's the one that put this slide deck together for us. He's the one that put all the awards listing together. He does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes. And the only reason why we haven't recognized him beforehand is he's the one that makes the damn plaque. But yeah, we're going to make sure that the next person that wins this award is going to be recognized. And that person is Fred Becker. And that award is going to be called the Claire Mcmurray Chapter Advocate of the Year Award. And Fred, you want to say a few words? And then Claire, would you like to say a few words?
Just thank you for this honor, and it's been a great opportunity to help everybody here, and it's been a lot of fun helping.
Okay, Claire, have you got anything to say?
Yeah. I have to say that you all are extremely sly. You gave me an award a few years back that I had no idea you were doing, and I was on the awards committee. like Fred. And Fred is indeed the person who makes everything work. People have ideas, like I had ideas for the slideshow, but I couldn't make it all work. And Fred stepped in and made it work.
Yes, but Claire, we named this award after you because you're the glue that holds a lot of this stuff together, and we need to recognize your contribution. And like we said, a lot of these things we're deciding to name David Dunlop International Award. We have the Robert Compton Chapter Year Award, and I said there's no reason why we have a coordinator award. So not without naming it, I think it's long overdue that we have the Claire Mcmurray Award now for Chapter Advocate of the Year.
Thank you. It's a huge honor.
Who's talking besides Claire? Please mute.
I was saying it's a huge honor, and you all did it again. I didn't even have a whisper of a hint of a thought you were doing any such thing.
Oh, well, usually these things are a surprise, but since Fred was making the plaque, we couldn't surprise him, but we could surprise you. Thank you. Anyways, those are the ends of the awards. Now, there's some things that we can talk about here about some changes that are coming up, but I think maybe what we'll do is we'll schedule an all chapters meeting because there's some exciting changes that are going up concerning some things we're doing with Zoom with the chapters, some things we're doing with speakers for the chapters, some things that will people will be able to donate for chapters, and some things about ways to bring more money to the chapters. And there's a lot of things, but right now is we only have a little bit of time. I like to open this up for questions and comments. We have somebody handling the questions here.
Yeah, Bert has a list of questions he collected beforehand.
Okay, guys, I'll let you decide who wants to answer. Some are pretty basic, and some go to information new members want to know about. So one is, I'm a relatively new member. Does each state have at least one chapter of NSS?
Not yet.
No, at one time we had chapters in 47 states, but right now we don't. And the thing is, if there's a chapter near him, contact the local chapter. If he doesn't have one, contact Dave Stuart or myself. We're on the website and we're in Ad Astra. We will move forward on that.
And we certainly encourage people to establish chapters. We'll get you a list of, or we will contact NSS members in your area. And if there's enough NSS members that want to get together and meet, then, or even non-NSS members that you know of, then we certainly encourage you to start the process of starting a chapter.
Very good.
Bert?
We should post the chapter website on the chat area. So, because there were a couple questions about how to find what chapter is near an individual.
Okay, I'll go get that.
That would be great, Fred, because I've got a couple questions about, okay, like, for example, what chapter is nearest to San Bernardino, California, and what's happening with chapters in Hawaii. I don't know whether you guys would like to address that or we just put the website up.
Okay, so San Bernardino, as I recall, that's in the Bay Area. Is that correct?
San Bernardino is near LA.
Oh, near LA. So there's a large Oasis chapter, but they're centralized in LA. Depends. LA is so spread out that it's hard to for everybody to show up to meetings there. But I certainly encourage you to check out the Oasis chapter. And Oasis is usually one of our award winners, by the way, but they kind of neglected to submit their annual report in time to be even considered this year. So
yeah, thanks for the kick in the pants, Dave. And
yes,
you know,
well,
you're the second reminder. The first reminder was yesterday when I checked our chapter mailbox, and it was a reminder from Sacramento, your neck of the woods, Joe, but the state capitol, reminding us that we have till October to file our annual state incorporation papers. So thank you for the reminder. I do want to say that under the circumstances, we're planning some online events. And so, you know, if you're out in San Bernardino, and we've had some of our most active members come from Riverside. So people, you know, if they're willing to make the trip, they've contributed a lot to our chapter. But we're planning some online events. So, you know, just email me, sethpotter3@gmail.com if you want to get on our announce list. And that way, you know, and we're going to be posting those in the chapters discuss lists so that anyone anywhere could really attend our virtual events.
right. And you do a number of association of events with the AIAA, LA Las Vegas section too, right?
We've been cross-publicizing with AIAA, and right now, the next event that we have planned is actually it's being hosted by the Aerospace Legacy Foundation and Aerospace Historical Society based in the LA area. We're collaborating with them. We're going to assist them with that. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a panel on space settlement and NSS. And so, and that's Saturday, August 29th. And that's going to be, we actually are sharing a WebEx license with them. Some of our members, we discussed various tools and we went with WebEx, but you don't have to have the app on your computer to be in a WebEx meeting. So yeah, August 29th, we're going to be assisting. And that's, as Dave mentioned, one of the ways we've coped with the LA sprawl is rather than compete with other organizations, we're cooperating with them. And so there's several of them right now, but particularly Aerospace Legacy Foundation that we're cooperating with.
Excellent. Thanks, Seth.
And we'll do a better job of keeping you all informed.
Okay.
Especially now that anyone, anywhere can attend any event.
Yes. But you still have to put in your annual report.
Oh, I understand.
Yes.
We also want to do stuff worth putting in too. So we'll get that to you.
Chris Cerrone, and I live in San Bernardino County up in the high desert. I just wanted to point out that there are people from the LA chapter that are a long way away. So, and welcome the person that's from San Bernardino.
Excellent. So, yep.
Very
See, from up there in the hills, everything's downhill into LA. So
it is. It is.
Sorry, Chris, I forgot that you had moved out there. I keep thinking you were in Orange County, but
no, long time away from that.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So you're Bert. You got another question?
Let me get a few more questions in. Yes, they want to know what chapters are doing to get young college-age students involved.
Okay, so as you just heard from Seth and Oasis, they are collaborating with a number of organizations, and some of those have many more young members. And earlier you heard from the Phoenix chapter, they participated in the SEDS annual conference last year. SEDS, for those who don't know, is Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. They're exclusively college-age organization. Jeff Bezos was a SEDS member when he was a young sprout. So he actually gave them a few $100,000 a couple of years ago to keep their stuff going. You can go to the SEDS website, check out to see if there's a local SEDS chapter and they're almost always at a university or college near you. You have to kind of take that listing with a grain of salt because their chapters rise with a couple of key students. When those key students graduate, oftentimes those chapters fall. So you got to do a little bit of research, but it's worthwhile trying to hook up with not only SEDS for younger people, but
yeah, I'm back on.
Yeah, some educational organizations and people to also entice and connect with the kids. We made a conscious effort years ago not to pursue directly college students because we still do have kind of a non-compete agreement with SEDS, though that is in process of getting renegotiated, so we'll see how that works. But I certainly encourage any chapter to look around their community and meet up with other groups so that you can actually do things together, lower your costs, and increase your outreach.
Very good. I did see a note posted by Sean, who has invited everyone to his beach house in Hawaii.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to host me.
You know, to help with the Hawaii chapter. Does that include the transportation, Sean?
I thought it was reverse. I thought y'all were going to fly me there. So.
Yeah.
Very
no,
good.
I want the slow boat there so we can party all the way.
Absolutely.
A couple more questions before we close out.
Relating to Hawaii, by the way, so our Vice President for Education, Lynn Zielinski, is moving to Hawaii. So anybody in the Hawaii area should, she's kind of a fireball. So if you're going to spend some time with her, you better be active, and she'll put you to work one way or another if you say you're an NSS member. We had talked a couple of times about trying to do an ISDC in Hawaii. I know all of the Australian and India and Japan chapters would really love that. I know a number of people, if we did it in winter, I know we would have a larger increase from all of the Midwestern and Northern states, but it hasn't come to fruition yet, but there's still hope. Okay,
Count
Bert.
me in. One or two more questions. Larry kind of touched on this, and I think you mentioned it, some of the people mentioned it already in talking about their chapters. What are the chapters doing specifically to address the challenges of meeting in the COVID-19 pandemic? And it sounds like a lot are going virtual, and I don't know if you want to expand on that, Larry and Dave.
Yeah, I would like to point out that it was a slow start in March, but by now, I would say better than 3/4 of our chapters are meeting. Some of them are using Zoom, some are using some other platforms that I'm not familiar. Someone is Google and some of these other platforms, but they're actually trying to reach out and do these things. One of the things we're trying to assist them on is we're looking to see getting a chapter's Zoom account. What I mean by a chapter Zoom account, not just for the chapter's committee, but a chapter can reach out and do something. One of the ideas we're toying with, but it's a big idea, but it's going to take a lot of work, is a chapter can put on a one-day conference. They can have some local speakers, but we can bring in people via Zoom from all over to make that conference big, and they can promote it in the local community. And this is something that we would like to be able to pursue, but it's all preliminary right now. But we're actually adapting to this thing, and there's several chapters that are holding regular events. You heard about St. Louis and Phoenix and a few others that are holding regular events, and there's many more of these that are cropping up. And we're going to try to see if we can assist them.
Very good. Thanks, Larry. Last question, I think, goes to how we inspire the next generation. And the question is, what are chapters doing to promote the involvement of girls and women in in space and in actually NSS. And I know our chapter, just from tonight, a good sampling of our chapter leadership is female. So, I don't know if you'd like to address that, or if any one of our chapter leaders would like to address that.
Well, I would like one, Dave. I would like Christine or Phyllis or one of our chapter leaders address that, please. Christine, Phyllis.
Yeah, I was just about to type a response actually, but one of the things that's really important is for people to see themselves, right? So if there's an outreach table and there are women at the outreach table, you're more likely to get girls and women to stop by, and that would be the same with people of color, et cetera, any diversity that you're thinking of. So the more diverse your chapter is, the more likely you are to attract diverse people. So that's one thought about that.
All right.
Thanks, Christine. Anything else?
Well, I'd like to point out that our vision of living and working in space encompasses all parts of humanity. And we try to be an inclusive organization. It doesn't always appear that way, but we've, from the get-go, back in the L5 days, the chapters were always trying to include anybody who was interested in space. I know that when I was in Minnesota, the chapter there, we had a teacher who was a paraplegic, and he was with us for years because he really loved the idea of going into space and not having to worry about a wheelchair. Those kind of people provide a personal point of inspiration for other people. And I think it's very important for the chapters to pick up those threads and expand on them so that they can include as many people as possible. And it will enrich their chapter. You'll get diversity, sometimes healthy arguments, but that's good. You need to expand your horizons sometimes. So I certainly encourage all chapters to sit back for a moment and think about who you're reaching out to, how you can reach out to people who are in poorer areas of your town, in disadvantaged schools, any pathway. See if some school is interested in you hooking up with a teacher in that school to come and talk to the kids when they get back to school, that is. So it's important. If we're going to have space settlements, you got to have a diverse community. You know, a settlement's not going to last very long if you don't have, you know, a variety of occupations there. Because, you know, think how long the community is going to last without a plumber. So, you know, you do need a full spectrum of people to make a sustainable community, to become a settlement, and eventually become a civilization.
Yeah, well, I got two final thoughts, Bert, before we...
Sure, Larry.
That is, number one is... we'll send out to all the chapters and anybody that's interested, and we're going to have a all chapters meeting next month. We'll set the date, and what we're going to do is talk about some of the things that we can do and what we are doing, what's in the pipeline, and what we're doing about coping with this pandemic and coping with the economic shortfalls and all the other things, and how we can move forward on these things. That's a meeting in itself, and we'll probably not take a Thursday night, but we'll probably do an all chapters meeting on Tuesday, and we will let you know what Tuesday that will be. The second thing is, there's one type of person that you will not see a lot of in space. That is a person that is what I would call the stupid person. I don't know how many people have seen the commercial with the guy that couldn't wouldn't get his glasses fixed, so he couldn't tell the difference between the bathroom door and the door to the outside space. And those people don't last long in space.
So, you know, space is going to be settled by people who know what's going on and what the dangers are initially. But as you grow, every community grows in different ways. And as you become a full-blown settlement, you'll have all of the pluses and unfortunately some of the minuses of humanity. And that's human nature.
Well, like I was going to say, is in space like that, the smarter people are the ones that are going to thrive. And I said, just like we do with our NSS members and our NSS chapter people, we're thriving because we're smarter than probably a lot of the other people.
So, Bert, are there any other questions?
No, I think we're way over time, so I want to wrap things up, everybody.
Yeah, we're going to announce next week's now.
Yes, I will be doing that. First, I do want to congratulate all of the chapter winners this evening, both the chapters and the individuals. You've done an amazing job. As the VP of membership, I just want to thank you for everything you do to engage our members. It really makes a difference when we're talking about member values. So thank you and congratulations for a job well done. We're looking forward to more activity, and we hope when we expand, as Larry said, some of our virtual capabilities, we'll have more reach for you, be able to have an ability to reach other members as well. So thank you again. I would also like to send a great thank you to our hosts tonight, Larry Ahearn and David Stuart. They did a great job moderating and presenting these awards. So thank you for making this a great, entertaining evening. And finally, a great thank you to Fred Becker, who has always been there to assist with all of these town halls and space forums. We couldn't do it without you, Fred, so thank you. So again, everybody, I just want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Before we go, I'm going to share my screen again and give you an update on next week's activity. So let me just do that right now, and then we'll sign off. And here we go. Let's just get it into slide mode in a second here. So next week on the 6th of August, we're going to be doing a space forum, and we have a very special evening planned. The topic is the long duration spaceflight diet, and these are contest presentations. So we're going to hear from future space professionals. One title is Eat to Explore by Stelly Ford, and the other one is Development of Pre-Flight and In-Flight Diet for Long Duration Spaceflight by Alex Hughes. So, and this is going to be hosted by Francis Delutri. So I hope you all can join us next week. We'll be sending out a message. I know we've got a lot of people who've been on every single one of our space forums and town halls. So we hope you can all join us again next week. So on behalf of all of us here at the NSS, again, I just want to thank you for joining us. Please stay safe. Please, enjoy the weekend coming up, and we look to see you next week. So thank you again. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.